What's up? Black men will become miserable when living to impress other black people. Now, before I get into the video, I do have a school community that I made for black men for us to come together, share our experiences, have good conversations, and really help each other elevate. And if you want to join that, the link for that will be in the description of this video, the comments of this video, and if you click on my channel in the bio section, you'll see the link right there. So click on that, check that out. Back to the video. Now, when we see why we can't come together as black men, I understand that a lot of us are raised to think that certain things are cool, certain people are cool. In the black community, when I was growing up, I was conditioned to think that the thug was the cool one, the criminal was the cool one, the bad boy was the cool one because he was getting the woman, he was, you know, being feared by people or X, Y, and Z. There were so many reasons why he was cool, right? And as I got older, I started to see like this person as an individual that I want to be like or that I think is cool is actually a person who's hurting themselves every day. A person who in real life has no respect for himself or for other people, right? And the more I understood that to become a person that's trying to be cool, you have to impress other people to make them think that you're that type of person. And we have a backwards way of thinking like the bad guy is actually the good guy and you should look up to the bad guy, and the good guy is actually the bad guy and he's the guy that's lame, he's not cool and nobody's going to listen and watch him, right? I remember I had just seen a video yesterday, and it was this guy. He was giving an interview to, it was this white man who was giving an interview to a black man who was in prison, and the black man that was in prison was saying how he wasn't even raised to be a thug, right? He wasn't even raised to be a thug, but he became one because that's what the girls liked. That's what he thought was cool. That's what he thought was going to get him respect from other black people a lot of the times. And he was like, I had a backwards way of thinking. He was saying that the guy who was corny or the guy who was lame, the guy who was not cool was actually the cool guy. He was actually getting somewhere in life. He was actually caring about his life, right? And this is what we have to understand, bro. Like, don't do everything to look cool, right? It's okay if a girl don't like you, man, because at the end of the day, if she only like you for being in a position where you're hurting yourself, you're being in a deficit or a setback, and she likes that. She likes when you're hurting yourself. She likes when you're in jail. She likes when you are a criminal and stuff. And I know it may sound corny. A lot of black dudes will be like, "Man, I'm a thug. I don't care about none of that. I'm a thug, man. I'm X, Y, and Z. I don't. You know." A lot of black guys gonna give you that mentality, but you have to look over that because you have to understand that he's not doing that because it's logical. He's doing that because he's trying to impress people. He's trying to look cool. He's trying to portray an image like he's a real nigga, right? He's trying to portray that image when in reality, you're they've conditioned him to think that that's cool, even though it's actually bad. And that's the number one thing that we have a problem with in the community, that we have so many men coming up and they're looking up to things that really hurt them, right? And that's what goes back to the backwards way of thinking, where we think that the bad guy who's hurting everybody and he's hurting himself and he has no money, he has no respect, he has no career, he has no life, really. He has no life. But the girls will go for him, and that's what's cool. That's what's being popularized. That's what we glorify. And that's the problem with the black community. That's why we don't have, to me, as our community hasn't rose to where it needs to rise, purely because we have so many black men who have been conditioned to think that hurting themselves was a cool thing, right? And I mean on every aspect, as far as, you know, you just think certain things are cool when in reality you're doing the opposite of what you think that is it's cool. But we don't even do it because I think a lot of times when it comes to a man chasing something that he thinks is cool, he's not doing it because he thinks it's gonna help himself. He's doing it because he knows he's gonna be accepted. And this is what the real reason behind all of this is. They want to be accepted. And so many men feel like they have nothing to live for, so they want to be accepted by the thugs and the criminals, and um they want to be cool to the girls that like that. And I think that the girls who like that are low quality girls. Like in all reality, in all truth, like a girl who like you because you a criminal and you a thug and you a you a hood nigga. A girl that like that, bro, like you have to leave them where they at. They not gonna help the community. They not gonna help black people. They're not gonna help anybody, right? They just the same. They on the same level as a dude. As the dude. They on the same level as the dude. Because if you like that and you're gonna sleep with that dude, that's the wrong choice. That's the wrong man, right? And this is why I used to have that way of thinking. Like, man, I got to do whatever the girls like. You'll be in a bad position in life if you only do and try to be cool and impress girls to make yourself look like something that you're not, or something that it's something that's gonna hurt you, right? And I've said in my previous videos that anytime you do something where you're ignoring your elevation, you're ignoring self-improving and going up, you lose a part of yourself. I think it's so many dudes, they lose themselves and try to impress people. They just lose themselves because they become something that they really didn't even care about. They just did it because they wanted to be accepted. And I think that I go against that. I go against that. And I'm not a guy who's finna be rude to people, but I think the truth is the truth. Like, we have to understand a lot of things need to be changed in the black community in order for the community to be productive and for us to have strong families, a strong connection with each other, for us to really help each other. Because as long as we look up to the thugs and the bad boys, and we have young men who grow up and they do it just to impress the girls, they do it to be accepted by the other men, and they think that's what a real man is. Those people in that area that do that type of stuff and that are like that, it's like at some point they're gonna become the enemy. At some point, I think that's not that is no really that's the first thing we have to situate, because like I said before, we can't fight against the real enemy when we have other people who are the enemy and within our community, and they're not the enemy because in the same way that the bigger enemy is, but they're the enemy in the same way that if we can't get this right, we'll never win. So if we can't get past this level, we can't go to that level. We're not going to win this fight if we can't come together, if we can't conquer our minds and understand the things that we actually have to do to rise, and the mentality and the culture that we need to be productive. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Peace out.